class we've been talking a lot about Holmes and the different ways that Larson develops him as a character, but we haven't really focused on Daniel Burnham a lot, who's also a main character in the book. So in this vlog we're going to be asking about and answering a question about Daniel Burnham, and we're going to be focusing on the thing that ties Burnham and Holmes together, which is the World's Fair! So why is the World's Fair so important to America and Chicago, and why is Daniel Burnham so excited to oversee it?
So, looking back at the book, Larson says, "The most marvelous exhibit of modern times or ancient times has now just closed successfully at Paris. Whatever you do is to be compared with that. If you equal it, you have made a success. If you surpass it, you have made a triumph. If you fall below it, you will be held responsible by the whole American people for having assumed what you are not equal to. Beware," he warned, "take care." World's Fair was held in 1993, just 22 years after the Chicago Fire, which destroyed most of Chicago's landscape. If we look back at history, we can see that the World's Fair was an effort made by America to compete with other nations, both culture and architecture.
Chicago itself is something to prove, that it could rise from the ashes of the Chicago Fire and become a rich city full of culture. The World's Fair certainly showed evidence towards this, and was said by the World's Digital Library to have marked Chicago's coming of age as a national and world city. At the World's Fair, one could find different pavilions, each one represented by a different nation, and totaling to over 40 different countries. The World's Fair in Chicago was the first World Fair to have setups sponsored by different nations. It also boasted a staggering 264-foot Ferris wheel, one of the biggest of its time.
To the second part of the question, why was Burnham so excited about overseeing the construction of the World's Fair? The city putting its trust in Burnham for the designing of the World's Fair showed his ability as an architect. According to the book, the burden of restoring the nation's pride and prominence in the wake of the Paris Exposition had fallen upon Chicago, and Chicago in turn had lodged it firmly, if for now discreetly, on the top floor of the Rookery. Considering what's at stake for the nation, Chicago giving the job to Burnham and Roots shows that they're the best architectural team in the city.
Why the World's Fair was important to America, Chicago, and Daniel Burnham. But why was Chicago important to the book?
So our question for you guys is, what do you think Erik Larson's sticking with Chicago as a setting for Devil in the White City add to the story as a whole?
Gang, gang.
What was that? Is that the ending? Gang! We'll see you guys in class.